Hi there, it's Christine Weber here with my weekly live stream. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, I was having trouble with my mic, and it took me a little while to straighten all that out, but I think it's working now. So if you're watching live and you could let me know if my mic's working, I would appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. And today I want to talk about the power of mantra and also the idea of using mantra in asana practice, which is actually quite a traditional way of using mantras. I do see a couple folks are on. So if you're watching me live, if you can let me know that you can hear my microphone, I'd appreciate it because I did a whole live stream. It was like 15 minutes. And then at the end I saw, oh, nobody could hear me. I apologize for that. Okay, so today I'm talking a little bit about mantra and how it's used traditionally in yoga practice, and then how it's also used in asana practice traditionally. It's not sort of a new thing. I think sometimes people are trying to, always innovate, and which is great, and come up with new stuff. And but the practice of using a mantra while you're doing asana is actually quite traditional. You sound good. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you can hear me. It's actually quite traditional to use a mantra while you're doing asanas. Um, but that sort of got lost, I think, as asanas came over to the West, and you don't see it that much. But it can be quite simple. So you can use long mantras while you're doing asanas. Of course, there's or shlokas or sutras. You can use a yoga sutra while you're doing an asana. That's like a traditional way of practicing. But some people just like to use really simple mantras. Like you can certainly do inhale and exhale. Om. It's a lovely sound. It also helps you to lengthen your exhale, which is really good for the nervous system. Um, or you can do something more, like you can use a longer mantra, like you could use Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya, very well known Pavamana mantra. What I just chanted means like lead me from untruth to the truth, lead me from the asat, the untruth, to the sat, to the truth. And that's part of a longer mantra. Like you could do that. You could use a yoga sutra. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, for example. You can use that's just the definition of yoga. But I mean, and part of that, the idea of using mantra that way is that you are trying to contemplate or think about the meaning of the mantra. That's like a very Vedic way of doing mantras. And there's also the tantric mantras, which are things like Shivo Hung. Shivo Hum. You would do like the inhale internally, Shiva, and then the exhale, which means I am consciousness. I am that cosmic consciousness, if you like. Um, so many different ways that you can use mantra and asana, and it's a very traditional way of doing it, and it can help you to prepare for a seated mantra meditation practice, which is the central practice of the yoga tradition. Of course, yoga has been used in many different. It gets used in many different belief systems. So like the Buddhists would use mantra that are more Buddhist aligned. And then the Vaishnavites would use mantra that are more aligned towards the connection with Krishna, and the Shaivites more connection with Shiva. So there's many different ways you can do it, and certainly you can use an English affirmation. Like you can do "Let it be." That's a very Beatles affirmation, or whatever you want. I am peaceful. I'm happy. Whatever. Those kind of affirmations can be useful too. Sometimes I feel like sometimes they sound a little corny in English, um, just because sometimes we have that sort of association with affirmations that they can feel a little corny. Um, but that doesn't mean that they're not useful, and a lot of people might like to do it that way. Usually, I will do that sort of as more an internal thing, as opposed to chanting it out loud. I like to When chanting, I usually like to do in Sanskrit because that's the language that was created for it, but not everybody resonates with it. I realize that. Okay, so that is what I wanted to talk about today. I hope it's helpful. And I hope you experiment a little bit with using mantra in your asana practice. And I teach it often too. I have my weekly group. It's called the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society, where I teach yoga every week on Wednesdays. You are it's closed right now because we only open twice a year, but you're welcome to check that out if you're interested, and you can always email us and we can share stuff with you. And then, of course, I have all my, plenty of online programs as well too, if you want to study with me a little bit more. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.